Greetings, my people. This is your brother B, bringing to you yet again another episode 37 on this YouTube channel, Opps Opportunities for Black and Brown, Brown and Black. And on episode 37, I'll be talking to you about the Norteño and the Sureño situation. So, Norteños and Sureños, the whole beef started in the prison system, right? And from my understanding, pretty much it was a big divide between the city people and the people that worked out and or lived close to the fields, like in the San Joaquin Valley, and that's pretty much in the northern part. So there was some differences, and those differences got pretty intense and created this war that has been going on for decades, unfortunately, and it ties in our brothers and sisters that are Latinos, and now we even have, from my understanding, African Americans and certain whites that are, repping either or. And the thing is, what we need to come to understand is they have also a big influence out in the street. When you see a 13 and a 14, that's how you know that 13 Sureño, 14 is Norteño, and one is gonna rep a blue, the Sureño. Not all Sureños, there are some exceptions. For example, like Culver City has always, from my understanding, rep red over there in Mar Vista housing projects, and also in West LA Sotel, that neighborhood has, I believe, repped a brown or a khaki color bandana, and there might be others. And the thing is, in the northern side, there are some Sureño gangs in Northern California, and also in Southern California, there's been it's been known that in Bakersfield and in Pomona, at some point, there was Norteños down here, and the Norteños, they rep the red for the most part that I know. And the big divide is pretty much from Fresno North is Norteño, and from Fresno South is Sureño. And in Fresno, they have their own Bulldogs, their own pandilla, their own gang. And unfortunately, I believe they beef with both now, from my understanding. And that's also another thing that we'll talk about later in another episode. So the thing is, with this whole beef and how it affects our brothers and sisters, and it's been affecting us for decades. Like, it all starts from the good old 50s and going forward. The prices of goods have gotten a lot more expensive, and wages didn't really grow. So the government, or the people that control the government, they throw out things to distract us from entertainment, from the movies, the singers, sports, and all this stuff. So then you start having programming from more and more programming from the television, and then now you have the computer, and now you have it like literally in your hand. So little by little, people have been distracted, have been asleep from not noticing of that happening. And the thing is, I know that us as minorities don't know how to react to that politically. And the thing is, the opportunity when the government and the own CIA plants drugs where minorities live, because minorities, for example, in Los Angeles, certain parts of Los Angeles, back in the day, and I have family members, that they were only allowed to live in Venice or certain parts of Santa Monica and etc. on the west side. And a lot of people don't know that. So to get gentrification accelerating in those areas where you want to have whites, pretty much, or people with money, you're gonna drop drugs, as a source of income. So the gangs, regardless, they were gonna form because people are gonna have pride of where they're from. It doesn't matter, like the tribal instinct. it runs in our DNA. Like, it's proven through history. Where someone lands, they're gonna name themselves this, and if someone's gonna come and bother them and try to take their stuff, there's gonna be problems. You know? So the thing is, when you have communities that are struggling financially, and there's not really a bright future, because if you have a minimum education, the minimum paying job is not gonna do you any good for the most part. You're gonna be making ends meet, and you're gonna be a slave to your job. Back in the day, you just have and I have uncles that will prove it. That I'll later interview, that they had basic jobs, construction or whatnot, and they were able to have a pension within 20 years and live good. Like, have the wife at home, raise the kids, just have one job, go to Mexico, send money to Mexico, all that stuff back in the day. So fast forward to that time, after the good old days, where you have the gangs already in place, the economy is very tight, money's tight, and all of a sudden there's something that's gonna make you money, but it's gonna destroy the people within. But the thing is, people got blind to making money, and even within gangs, there's been backstabbing and all sorts of things within the people, because not all the gang members are drug dealers. There's soldiers. There's different levels to, you know, how a gang is built up, believe it or not. So the thing is, when the drugs have been put into the struggling neighborhood, people will be quick to see how they could make money very quickly, and they'll be selfish, and eventually karma will get that person either going in jail or their family becoming an addict or whatever the case is. So this whole beef between the Norteño and Sureño, like really really gets intensified because of this drug business of who controls what and all that, routes and all those kind of things. And the thing is, each gang in Southern California that has a 13, and in Northern California the Norteño that has the 14, they have to pay tribute to these prison gangs that have a lot of influence. But the thing is that we're both killing each other and poisoning our society. And I would really wish that certain drugs would just be a big no-no. Like when I got to live in Mexico, when certain cartel would control, the sale of crystal meth was forbidden. Like, they would kill their own people if they would get caught, or if they were be caught abducting people or extorting businesses, you know. So I just really hope and wish that the Norteños and Sureños would just come to agreement of a certain ceasefire, certain drugs not being sold to our communities, you know. And I know it's a lot to ask, because also these prison gangs are linked also to cartels in Mexico and even in Colombia, you know. And what happens on one side can affect the other side too. Like, people don't understand that, and it's all, for the most part, you know, it started with one thing and then it grew into like a drug war, unfortunately, a turf war. And at the end of the day, those streets, they belong to Uncle Sam. Unfortunately, I don't mean to offend anybody. You know, the reason why I speak about this, because I've seen firsthand through family members and people that I know and that I care about how it's affected them and their family. And it's just been a blessing for me. You know, that's all I could say. And I really hope for the best. And at one point, the people that call the shots get to sit down rethink certain things. I know things have gotten better through certain states and certain levels of the prison system. You know, before it was on site to death, and thank God that things have gotten better. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say as far as the beef between the Norteños and the Surenos. I wish there would be a restructuring of how certain things are handled, you know, as far as the extent to take someone out, because that whole cycle of violence just never stops. Karma just keeps on going, you know. And the thing is, when you start inheriting beefs, these newer generation, and when particular people get taken out and they have kids, and now they feel a certain kind of way because a particular gang or whatnot took them out, and then that's why they joined. So we are damaging ourselves. Some people do benefit, you know, as far as the Norteños and Sureños that make it out or get lucky or whatever you want to say. The ones that really benefit are the ones that own these private prison systems, and they just profit off of cheap labor, because they do have people working in there and they don't just have you sitting down. So one way or another, and just the whole idea of prison, in my opinion, no one should have the authority or the power to just say you're locked away for 30, 40 years. Depends on the situation, but as far as stuff that is like certain levels of robbery, I'll talk about that in another episode, but that's pretty much what I have to say about this whole situation. I just wish that the whole level of violence to murdering somebody should just be restructured, you know, to try to teach the person like what they're doing is wrong in one way or another, and if the violence escalates, you know, not to just what we're born with, you know, and just leave it at that. And even that, I don't wish for nobody to get an ass whooping. But yeah, that's what I have to say for this episode. And I'll see you guys on the next episode, episode 38, where I'll be talking about why we're our own worst enemy and why we don't progress. So stay tuned. If you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.